Hi, I'm Christina. This is my colleague Wany. Today we're going to show you the exercise called Bicycle, and we're also going to go through our pelvis placement while doing this exercise. The reason we find this important to teach you today is because we feel that a lot of our clients, if they're not in the proper position with their pelvis, can have lower back pain or a lot of strain in their lower back at the end of the exercise. So we're going to go ahead and teach you about a position called imprint. And that's going to make sure that when you do this exercise at home that you're doing it in the most pain-free and safe position. So we're going to go ahead and get down onto the mat. So Wany's going to lay flat onto her back. Her knees are bent. Her feet are about hip distance apart and her feet are flat on the floor. So just to explain a little bit further about this pelvis placement, I'm going to have Wany put her heels of her hands on her hip bones and then just place her fingers down. Right, so her fingers are about over her pubic bone. Right, so right now she's in a position that we call neutral. And you can see that her hands are pretty flat here. So what we want her to come into is our imprint position, where when we use imprint is when our feet are not on the floor, right? So when we're doing bicycle, our feet will not be supported. So before we get into that position, we're gonna have Wany lift her pubic bone slightly higher than her hip bones. You can see there's a slight tilt of that pelvis, and what she's doing is lengthening her lower back to get into this position. So let's go ahead and release back into neutral, and then exhale again into imprint. So again, lifting that pubic bone a little bit higher, right? So inhale again into neutral. I'm just gonna have you do that 2 more times. So you can see it's a slight rock of the pelvis. What you wanna avoid is jamming that lower back down, which can sometimes lose a little bit of control of the abdominals, right? So we just wanna make sure it's a slight tilt, a slight rock of the pelvis, getting that lengthening. So I'm gonna go ahead and have you hold that imprint position now. Let's put your hands to the side. And we're gonna go ahead and move into the exercise. So while maintaining this imprint, we'll go ahead and lift one leg up into tabletop. Tabletop, our knee is just over our hips, and we're gonna lift the other leg up, maintaining this. So what we want to have here is that Wany is going to keep this imprint position throughout the exercise. Right, so we'll go ahead and start. We're going to exhale to lengthen one leg out. Inhale to switch, lengthening the other leg out. I'm going to go ahead and continue the exercise. So while she's doing this, you just want to take note that there's no shifting of the pelvis and there's no movement through that lower back. For you at home to know if you're doing this properly and maintaining your imprint position, you should notice that there's no change in the distance between your ribs and your hips. It should remain stable throughout. To challenge yourself further in the exercise, you could actually lower your legs a little bit lower down towards the mat. However, you only want to lower your legs as low as you can still maintain this imprint position. So if you feel that your lower back is starting to lift off of that mat, or feeling any strain in that lower back, then you want to just lift the legs a little bit higher, right? So everyone might have a little bit of a different position of how low their legs can go. But making sure that the most important part is that you're able to maintain that lower back position and having that length and keeping the imprint. So let's go ahead and do 2 more. And we'll bring both legs back into tabletop. Still maintaining that imprint, we'll lower one foot down, hitting toe, ball, heel. And then other foot down, toe, ball, heel, and then you can release the pelvis back into that neutral position. So that is how we effectively do the exercise bicycle.